Yo, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy, the franchise player, Double B Blab, but joined by this lovely lady right here, one of the most legendary wrestlers in all of Impact Wrestling, NWA. We're talking NWA TNA, all that shit. Ladies and gentlemen, the beautiful person herself, Angelina Love. Welcome to the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast.
Oh, thank you for a wonderful intro. Thank you for having me.
That's what we do here. We hype everybody up.
Love it.
Like I told you before, this show is strictly just two friends chatting, hanging out, shooting the shit. And I've known you for a very long time. I looked at my phone and I was like, damn, I've had her phone number since like 2015.
Really?
It's a long ass time.
That is a long time.
So I decided to reach out to you because I wanted to know, like, what are you up to these days? I mean, I know there's some huge things that have just popped up around you like the last couple months.
The last few months.
Yeah.
I mean, just moved from Missouri to North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in North Carolina now. We just did that move last week. It was very long. And then we had to go pretty much straight to the Crockett Cup as soon as we got here, which was in Winston-Salem. So we did that June 3rd and 4th. So now we're kind of just like here next weekend, ODB's getting married. So we're going to ODB's wedding.
Nice. Very nice.
And I got my own coming up in October.
Hold on. That's too bright. That's a very beautiful ring there.
So that's coming up in October. So just doing our own wedding planning and kind of settling into the new house. And we got NWA shows coming up and like a pretty busy summer. So a lot going on as always.
That is a lot going on. There's a whole lot going on. I mean, the wedding planning right there, that's gonna be outrageous already.
Well, we've already got a really good head start. The biggest thing that we're just waiting to find out is for people to finish RSVPing so we know how many people are coming. But like dresses already being made. We got the venue back in like the end of January. So yeah, we've got a lot of stuff sorted already.
You're legitimately on top of it. Really on top of it.
Yep.
So the NWA. Now I'm an NWA guy. I mean, I've held NWA championships like for the longest. I mean, I'm talking Bruce Stark days. Well before Billy Corgan, Lightning One Entertainment, before they purchased it. I got a lot of friends that work for NWA, Black G's, Mike Knox.
Yeah.
All those guys.
I've known Knox since 2005.
Yeah, I think the reason I got in touch with you is because of Knox.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was thinking about booking you on a show, and he was like, "Man, you got to book this girl, brother."
Oh wait, how long ago was that?
Shit, I don't know, man. That was like almost, I don't know, 8-9 years ago.
Well, you didn't call me.
Because I don't run shows anymore now. I mean, I'm on my retirement tour now. But
well, what's really cool about NWA is when I got there last year, it was like just a big conglomeration of like my entire career and people that I've worked with. Mm-hmm. So like Knox, I haven't seen Knox in probably over a decade, like in person, because we were in Deep South together from like 05 to 07, and then he went up to like ECW and SmackDown and stuff. And then like I got released and I went to TNA, and it was like, Dango was there, and Dango was just like Kurt. in like, trying to get a job like in Deep South back in like '06. And a lot of people I had worked with at Impact, a lot of people that I was in WWE developmental with, some of the Ring of Honor guys were there. So it was really cool to just have like a whole bunch of people that I had seen either like a month prior or I hadn't seen for 15 years in the
Exactly.
locker room. So it's really cool.
I tell people all the time that real wrestlers know real wrestlers, and people don't understand what that means. And if you're in this industry, if you don't know what that means, then you're not a real worker. Um,
Right.
like Knox and like Lufisto and like Black G's and like all these guys. Like I've known these guys for so long, and it's like when you don't see someone like I didn't see Knox for like maybe like 10 years because we were together at UPW in Southern California and then down in
Right.
Arizona, right?
Uh-huh.
So I walked into a locker room and he was there and it was like fucking 2 days ago. Like bro, it's like bro, and the conversation just flowed like
Yep.
forever. So I
That's what
totally
I
get
like
that.
about doing conventions and signings and stuff is that like vendors just bring in like the most random
Hmm.
people from the business, you know what I mean? And you could see somebody that you haven't seen for like 6 or 7 years and just walk up to them and like it's like no time
No
passed
time
in
has
between and
passed.
you have conversation and I love that stuff.
Yeah, that's to me that's the best part about wrestling. Like I've been like mulling over retiring because 30 years is a long time to be abusing your body, you know. And I'm only
I'm on year 23.
yeah, so you know exactly what I mean. I'm gonna be 49 this year. Just like, dude, that's a long time.
Yeah.
And then you sit back and you look at some of the things that you've done. Like for instance, you were in like one of the very first women's cage matches in Impact Wrestling. Like how the fuck did that come about? You know what I mean?
I was so terrified too because I'm not a huge fan of heights.
Mm,
And I remember like during the day, so that was lockdown '08.
yep.
We were doing the Queen of the Cage match. And I mean, we were still fairly new there. We'd only probably been there for like 6 or 7 months at that point.
Mm.
And oh, I just, I don't like to lean over things that are high up and look below. I feel like my stomach just falls out my toes and I just can't. So I was
Just get
like,
vertigo.
I knew I knew it was going to be like me and Roxy, the final two. And I was like, during the day, I was like, whew, it looks high. I'm like, I should practice climbing it just to get a feel for it instead of just trying to do it live on pay-per-view. And like I climbed up and like pretty much touched the top and I was like, I'm good. I'll just figure out how to get over it when we're live and I'm not going to try it now. And I mean like, yo, I was like digging my toes in and like death gripping those things. And once I got over the top, I was like, okay, just touch the and I got in and I was like, woo! Like half of it was that I just didn't die getting in there. And then the other half was acting like, all happy and whatever.
I did a match one time. It was me and Hernandez. Me, Hernandez, and my tag partner LTP. We were doing a 6-man tag team match, and Sean goes, "Bro, go to the top of the ladder." And I'm like, "Are you fucking serious?" It's like one of those big, like you remember the Dudley Boys and the Hardys had those fucking 30-foot ladders. I
Yeah.
don't know where this ladder came from. Like we didn't talk about this at all during when we were in the back. He's like, "Dude, climb that ladder and do a swanton." I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Like
And I'm so hyped up because the crowd's going for it. I'm like, "Yeah." So I start climbing the
adrenaline.
ladder,
Yeah.
and I'm not afraid of heights. But as I got to like that 10th rung, I looked down. I was like, "Oh shit!" And then they shut the ladder, and as I go to take the bump, I just close my eyes, like, "Don't die, don't die, don't die."
Hope for the best.
I almost didn't hit the table when I went through it. And as I laid there, the ref's like, "You okay?" And I'm like, "Just let me lay here for a minute." He's like, "You got to
Yo,
get up."
if
No.
somebody if I was in a match and somebody called something like that on the fly for me, I would have just been like, nope.
Well, I was still young and dumb, you know.
Right.
I was like, I want to impress. Now, at my age, 5 moves. You're lucky you get those 5 moves from me. 5 big bumps. That's it. I'm done with you.
Takes a while to learn how to work smart.
Yeah, the whole thing. It's no lie, ladies and gentlemen. Work smarter, not harder. Trust me, it's a fucking thing.
It's the key to longevity in your career.
Man, that's why it lasted so long.
Hmm.
So speaking of lasting so long, you've been around like you've done WWE, you've done Deep South, you've done NWA, you've done Impact, you've done AAA.
Yeah. Got
Like
my ass whooped at AAA.
you and me both, sister. Trust me.
Yeah.
AAA was a very rough time for me.
Yep.
But it was fun. It was fun. I mean, growing up in California, like I learned lucha before I learned how to wrestle American style. So
Oh, sure.
it
Yeah.
was that.
Yeah.
What what do you think? What do you contribute toward? What do you contribute as a not just a female, but as a worker in general? Your longevity. How did you last so long without getting any major injuries? I mean, ACLs and shit like that, that's a different story, but major injuries like necks and backs and things like that.
Well, I have a straight neck, so I mean, like I have neck pain every day. I have like contraptions and stuff at home that I like lay in, and I go to a chiropractor. That's just wear and tear. You know what I mean? Like that's just throwing yourself on your back and trying not to hit your head for over 20 years. But I've had the concussions and the reconstructed ACL and all the fun things. But I think like I always try to remain looking the part. That's always been a big thing for me. And I believe that I have really good work ethic. Like, I mean, I've loved wrestling and wanted to do this ever since I was a very young child. And it was never like, it was just like laser focus. Everything else that I had thought about trying to be when I was like a little kid just like fell to the wayside, and it was just this one thing. And I think because I'm just obsessed with being good and being believable and not having people watch my stuff and just be like, nah, looks fake, you know, and whatever. Like, I think I have I've figured it out along the years how to, I've always been very safe, but make my stuff look very intense. And I probably know 80% of the people that are in the wrestling business, like the entire wrestling business. So I think just because I've always kept my body up, I've always kept my look up, active on socials, and I'm still, you know, getting bookings. And even Velvet and I still get like conventions and signings, and we do appearances together. And like, you know, we've been the Beautiful People for 15 years. So having that kind of longevity and still being wanted and booked and all that kind of stuff is like a huge deal for us. Cause that's our baby, you know? So I think it's just, I just know the business, and, I think, yeah, when I got hurt, you know, or when I had that visa issue back in 2009, and when I came back, I've always been like, I want to look insane. Like I want to look insane on TV, like so good. So I've always been about keeping that up for myself. And I do think that's a big deal, because that is a big part of it. The look, you know?
Yeah. I always tell people that if you look believable, if you are believable, and Shinsuke Nakamura told me this once, and it didn't dawn on me until like maybe like 5 or 6 years later. The art of strong style is making it look real without hurting somebody. And I've watched a lot of your matches. I mean, I'm a wrestler, so I'm always a fan. And when it's someone that I know, I always watch their stuff, you know. And for years, you've made it look believable. You know,
thank you.
Without killing somebody, you know, without killing somebody, you made it look really believable, and you kept yourself in phenomenal shape. That's key too, because like I started wrestling for like maybe like 6 months because I broke my heel, and I remember the first bump I took. Yeah, I wrestled only for like a year and a half. I thought it was a sprained ankle the whole time.
Oh my gosh!
I just went to the doctor one day, and they're like, you know, how long has this been broken? I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, it's broken. I'm like, oh shit. So when they put me in that boot,
pro wrestlers are just different, man. Just built different.
You know, and that's the thing too. Like I separated my shoulder, popped it back in myself. I thought it was a dislocation. And
oh yeah, my shoulder's fallen out about 4 times. The first time it did that was when I was doing a run in at a Shine show. Probably it was 2014. And the ring is a little bit higher than like just a regular wrestling ring. So I remember when I was running in and I went to like kind of like lift myself to go under the bottom rope, this shoulder just went, huh. And so I got in the ring and I just went, yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's crazy. I did that.
I threw it back in, and I had to wrestle Gail on pay-per-view like 6 days later. I was so worried about it, but it was fine. But just for years it's been okay, but it started last year at some point. Started just falling out on like the random things, just anything where I like try to push up, it would just be like boop, and then it would just, but it was always go back in. So just you just keep going. I mean, thank God for adrenaline. We live.
Yeah. That, I tell people all the time, like that's what gets it. Because like I will wrestle. We've done war games matches, and like, you know, I've fallen through tables off the top of the cage and all kind of stuff. People are like, dude, you're fucking insane. You keep going. And I'm like, yeah, I keep going. And then I get back to the back and I take off those knee pads and I take off those boots, and it's like, boom, there it is. Like, fuck. Yeah. Okay.
So my fiance, my fiance, Psycho Boy Fodder, at the Crockett Cup, him and Flip were a team, the Flippin' Psychos. And within the first minute and a half of the first round match, he partially tore his calf, and then finished
What?
out the whole rest. You can't even see in
Wait,
the
wait,
match
is
where,
this Crockett Cup night one? Because I think I watched
yeah.
that.
And then they were in the main event too.
You
So
couldn't even tell.
if you saw where we came out on the stage and
Yeah.
he was injured and stuff, it's very real. Um, it was just, but it's always on like the weirdest things. Like I completely blew my ACL doing an up and over, and he
It
blew his
is.
just like ducking something and then trying to stop and pivot. And it was just, he said it just felt like somebody hit the back of his calf with a bag of quarters. And he came over to me. He tagged out he did his stuff and tagged out to flip and just kind of leaned down to me. He was like, I think I tore my calf. And I was like, what? like, I,
You're like, wait, what?
like I didn't even see it happen. But like adrenaline is everything for us, because it's like a lot of times, we just keep going until we're finished. We got broken noses and torn
Mm-hmm.
calves and all kinds of things. And
I've broken
then you
bones
get
and
to
I
the
haven't
back and then
realized
the
it.
next morning.
Yeah, I've broken bones
Yeah.
and didn't realize it until like I'm on a plane going home. Like, fuck, why does this hurt so bad? Like, oh shit,
Yeah.
what did I do there? And it's so funny. Like, I'll find like scars, and I'm like, well, where's that one come
Oh,
from?
yeah. You just wake up the next morning with like just the most random like bruises
Bruises.
and
Yeah.
cuts. And like, I'm like the amount of times where I'm just like, oh my God, my thumb. Like, what did I do? I can't move my thumb.
Wait
I
until
don't
you
know
like you
what life
wrestled.
is like without that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like you wrestled a Friday and a Saturday, and then you wrestle a Sunday, and then you go to your shoot job on Monday, and you wake up in the morning like, what the fuck is my knee swollen?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
like, what did
Just
I do to
wild.
that? You know,
Yeah.
I remember I dislocated my knee. I did 3 nights of TLC matches, and I remember walking up my driveway with my bag, and I think I stepped off the curb and broke my foot. So after all the shit that we did, it was stepping off
It's
the
never
curb that did it.
anything cool.
Mhm. So I was like, I'm gonna tell people I did this shit in the match.
So you be doing a swanton off a ladder and you're totally fine, but then it's just like, you just step into your house and you break your foot.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's literally pretty much what happened. And I got ripped so much by homicide for like months. Bro, don't step on your porch, cuz. Like, I got you, dog. No trip.
Just do this and like magically appear in your house and you'll be
Right? If
fine.
I can teleport, I would. Trust me.
Right, right.
So, what's next for you?
Well, I mean, I love working for NWA. Velvet's there, my fiance is there, a lot of my friends are there. Billy's the best. I've known Billy for like over 10 years. And I just working for him and being able to working for him and with him, because he's just like, he's so personable. And he's very friendly and he's very open to ideas, very creative dude. And it's just like we don't have like a really wild, hectic schedule, which as a mom, I have a 7-year-old. I ain't trying to be away all the time. I ain't trying to be
Mm-hmm.
running the schedule. I was running WW 23 years old, you know what I
I mean,
mean?
look
Where it
at
was
Tim
just like,
Storm. He's an elementary school teacher.
who is?
Tim Storm. Like he's a fucking school teacher.
Is he? I did not know that.
You know that? Oh my
Um,
god.
Oh, that's wild. Yeah, so it's like I'm not trying to be like wildly busy and gone a lot. Even though like my son, he loves to like he comes to like appearances with me, like if I'm not wrestling. He loves airplanes and he loves hotel rooms.
Hmm.
Never wants to leave the hotel. Thinks it's the coolest thing. So we just, I'm starting up like a tallow based like skincare business this summer,
All right.
non-toxic, chemical free, because I'm all about that as much as possible. Not perfect, but try to, because it's just like cosmetics and hair stuff and skin stuff are just so full of like toxins and chemicals and stuff like that. So I'm like, listen, I get Botox, that's a neurotoxin, so whatever. Like I have, I do my roots and that's stuff, but like I get my wins where I can,
Yeah,
where I can
exactly.
cut out things I do. So that's just like a really big thing now. So I'm going to start doing that this summer. My fiance is very business oriented. He runs like 5 or 6 companies. So that'll start this summer. And then we just got like a pretty decent NWA schedule until like the end of August. And we got indies, some indie shots coming up too. And so we'll
Are
be
you guys looking to come out to
busy,
the West
but
Coast?
it'll be doable.
Are you looking to come out to the West Coast?
I'm never out in the West Coast.
Shut up. Are you serious?
Nothing on the West Coast.
Okay. I'm not gonna shop your phone number around because I don't do that shit.
Well, thank
But
you.
But what I will do is, yeah, what I
Wouldn't
will
want you to
do,
do that anyway.
yeah, what I will do is I'll talk to some people, and if they're interested, then I will talk to
My booking
you.
email, my booking email is right on my Twitter bio.
Okay, then that's what we'll do. That's what we'll do. Shoot me all that information once we're done here, and I will pass it along to several people because
Sure.
even though I'm not running shows like on the West Coast anymore, I know pretty much everybody
Oh yeah, yeah.
and the talent.
Mostly everything is between the middle of the country to the east
Yeah.
that I do.
Oh man, I gotta get you out. I will get you out places. Like I will talk to people for you because I mean that's what I do. I
Oh
I
yeah.
figure I spent enough years in this business and people have always given me the rub, so it's time for me to give someone else the rub back. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So it's called good karma, people. Use that
That's
shit.
right. What's up?
So before we go, like I said earlier, I have a game I play. It's called Team with Feud with Fire. Now, here are the rules. You can team with any person in any person anywhere. WWE, AEW, New Japan, Shine, Shimmer, wherever. Fucking Joe Shack down the street, whatever. You want to team with that guy? Fucking team with that guy. If you want to, and you can feud with anybody, ring announcers, referee, timekeepers, Billy Corgan, whoever.
Wait, are you naming people for me?
No, I'm just saying, like in general. Or you can fire anyone you want in character, of course. Anyone you want from any promotion, anywhere around the world. So, with that being said, team with, feud with, or fire.
Okay, I'm gonna do this in Angelina Love
Okay.
character. Um, team with. Okay, Medusa. You know, she's an agent at NWA, and I
Right.
just love and adore her. And so's Jazz. So maybe like team
I
with
fucking
like
love jazz. I
I
love
just yeah.
jazz.
They're both the best. I would definitely like to team with them. Feud with, I always said Trish. Like if people would ask me like, you know, who would like one of your like a dream match be? And I'm like Toronto versus Toronto. Like let's go.
Mm,
That'd be awesome.
okay.
So Trish would be cool. Fire. I'm trying to think of like who would Angelina Love? I fired Kip. Fired Billy Gunn before,
That was funny. That was fucking funny.
but I adore him. Who would I fire? Angelina Love fire. I mean, back in the day in TNA, I probably would have fired like Gail or Kong, like two of
You
my
can't fire
biggest.
Kia. I fucking love her. I survived Japan because of her.
I know, but I'm just trying to think who Angelina Love would have fired. At that time, it would have been any baby face. So like Roxy or Gail. Let's just say Angelina Love would have fired Gail if she could have.
All right. I will
One
go
of
with
my
that.
biggest rivals.
I will go. You know what? I got a little heat with Gail Kim.
Oh,
So I wrestled this show in Northern California, and her and Tracy Brooks run the show. And I
you
don't
know,
know if
those
her,
are the two. Those are the no. Let me say, those are the two that were my biggest helpers when I
Mhm.
first started in the business. Especially Tracy because like her and I did indies together a lot. She was
Mm,
always the heel. You know, big boobs, dark hair, the raven hair. You know what I mean? And she was really good at being bad. And I was like the 18, 19-year-old, just blonde baby face, like just the
mhm.
kid. You know, and just working her so much. We got booked so many indies together, even in the States. I learned so much from her.
Yeah, so
So much
they're
from her.
really great
Me and
ladies.
her and Gail always like worked together when in Demore's BCW shows, which was like the
Hmm.
biggest indie in Ontario back when like all of us were coming up.
Is that Border City?
Border City, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we worked this show, and Gail was teased like she was trying to rub us all fucking night, right? And it wasn't working. Like we were like, nah, it ain't gonna work. So her and Tracy went on before us. Me and my brother were the tag team champions there. We're wrestling the Ballard brothers. And
Oh, the hockey guys.
yeah, yeah.
Oh my god.
And she stole, like her and Tracy both stole our tag team belts
Oh my
and
gosh.
wore them to the ring. So we couldn't figure out what the belts
I'm
were.
gonna almost put money on that was Tracy's idea.
It was because she was like, those are really cute. I would love to take a picture in those. And I was like, no, we're after you guys. After our match, you can do what you want. She was like, no. And then Gail comes, she goes, hey, I think the guy that's running this thing wants to talk to you guys about some autographs. And we were like, okay. And we got up
Ah,
and walked away like two fucking stupid marks. And she took the belts and they hid them. So,
it's funny.
like, and I was like, where are the belts? And then I hear their music go out and I'm like, are they fucking wearing our belts? And she gets on the mic and she goes, well, we hate each other, ladies and gentlemen, but we're the new tag team champions of this place. And if the champs got the biggest balls, they'll come out here and take them from us. And we're at the curtain like, damn, we're the baby faces. We go out there, we're gonna get shit on so bad.
It's so funny.
It was so funny, man. I love when other workers can play other workers and have fun with them.
Right.
That's
Where
for
it's
me.
just like it's not like so serious. You have
Exactly.
to have fun because
That's
it's
why I
like
like working with NWA.
we fake fight
Yeah,
like
man.
like you can't take it that serious, you know.
Like working with NWA. Like G's has been trying to get me to come over there for the longest, and he's like, dude, you will love it here. You will do a weekend of tapings, and then you're free to do whatever the fuck you want to do for like 2 or 3 months, and then you come back and do it again.
Yeah.
And he's like, talk to this guy.
Yeah.
Then Homicide's like, yeah, you need to talk to this guy. I'm like, I'm not gonna do that, guys. I'm pretty much I'm burnt out on being in the ring. I'll prefer to be behind the mic. Oh, let's talk about commentary. Joe Galley is great,
Oh yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
And I love Joe, and he's like, you and Tim are really good. I love Tim Storm too. Tim Storm gave me the best match of my wrestling career for the NWA World
Oh,
Title.
he's such a nice man.
Literally
He's
made
just so reserved and so polite
mm-hmm.
backstage, and yeah.
him
See,
and
that's
James
and for
Beard.
me, like whenever I'm done physically competing, like whenever I choose to be, and I don't know when that is, but I do want to go into like that backstage
Mm-hmm.
role because I've just been around for so long. I've done TV for so long. I feel like I have a lot to
Give
give
back.
to the younger generation and just help people along because I know what it's like on the other side of the fence in many different companies. And like when I was in Ring of Honor, I had started agenting just like a couple of the other girl
Mm-hmm.
matches and stuff like that. So that's kind of like more, I wouldn't want to like do commentary or anything, Velvet's killing it at that, but I would more want to agent or like produce backstage segments or help people with promos because I used to be growing up, I was scared to death to talk in front of people,
Really?
scared to death to be in front of people. Oh, my throat would close up. I'd get all red. My voice would sound different. Like I would literally rather do anything than have to get up in front of people. So obviously the business broke me out of that
Oh
shell.
yeah.
But I think it's a really good story and could help people who are like nervous cutting promos or like don't I know when to just change your voice to really like hammer certain words
Mm-hmm.
home. And like cutting promos became like one of my big things. So I would love to be able to help people like find their niche with their characters as far as like talking goes too.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I learned how to do promos um, by staring into a mirror. I basically was told you want to show someone that you're a tough guy. You really want to get over like this and be a bad guy. If you can convince yourself that you can beat your own ass, then you're working it. And I literally would do that constantly all the
That's
time.
great.
That's how I learned.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
great.
even now I still have stage fright. My daughter, she was doing a play and she was like, Dad, I don't want to give in front of all these people. She goes, how do you wrestle in front of thousands of people every week? I'm like, you want to know the truth? I'm terrified. I hear my music play, and when my music starts, there's like 30 seconds to the music. I run to the bathroom and I take a piss. And then I go back to the curtain. I go out the curtain and I do my spots. I get my stuff done. I come back and I take a deep breath, like, damn, okay, I did it.
You just get in the zone. It's like you
Mhm.
just get into
You
like
become a
for
different
me,
person.
like as soon as I go through the curtain, I'm in performer mode.
Yep. Yep. And my daughter, she learned that like right away. She was like, I get it, Dad. Like, I'm scared to death before I go out there. But the moment I'm out there, I'm a whole different person.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it's like hold your breath and go.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yep.
So, with that being said, thank you very much for your time
Well,
today. I know
thank
you're
you
like
for
really
having me.
busy.
I'm glad we got this sorted out.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Like I always tell people, there's always a seat at the table for you. If you ever want to come on the show, shoot the shit, promote your products. As a matter of fact, throw out your socials right now so everyone knows where they can find you.
Okay, so Facebook is private, but Twitter is at actual A Love. Instagram is A Love, the number 4 life 222. And I have an exclusive content website, angelinaforever.com.
All right. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here on the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast for Miss Angelina Love. I am the franchise, and we will
Oh,
see you.
can I plug an upcoming booking that I have
Oh,
at the end of the
yeah.
month?
Shit. Plug away.
So Fodder and I are doing a mixed tag match against Pillman Jr. and his girl Ari Alexander at AML in North Carolina. That's Sunday, June 25th. So that'll be good.
AML on the June 25th. Got
Yep.
it. So, what I'm going to do is this. When we get done, I'm going to have you. We'll talk about that when we're off the air. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here. We will see you when we see you.